Yes, we're live. Howdy, heretics. I have my new friend and still my brother, Brendan Diaz, and that's not a real name, but
No, actually, wait, that is my real name.
it
The
is your real
other,
name.
but the one on my Facebook is a pseudonym. So that's the.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So he posted his mother's letter on the Facebook group because he was sad, and this is a crappy letter, the kind of letter parents send to the children when they're gaslighting them and stuff like that. So tell us your story first. Are you disfellowshipped?
So I'm not exactly sure. But I don't believe I am at the moment. Because I believe there's kind of the process where you have to send a letter specifically to, the elders in your congregation in order to be officially disfellowshipped. But I was baptized when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And when I wrote my first letter to my parents, I did tell them that I no longer wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness.
You
So
wrote that letter to your parents.
not this letter obviously that you see, but in my previous posts, if you look, you can see that I also posted the letter that I sent to them or left for them the day that I ran away from home. um,
Okay.
and in that letter I said I no longer want to be a Jehovah's Witness. That being said, if my parents don't bring that letter to the elders, not sure if I'm considered disfellowshipped yet, but I'm
No.
definitely disassociated,
Yeah. It's just a fancy word. It's just a legal construction. The word disassociated. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I would say to let's say I'm a dictator of an evil country and I put my political opponents in prison. And you ask me, do you put your political opponents in prison? I would say no. I would never put them in jail.
Yeah.
You just redefine it with two different words. And watch how
Exactly.
you do that. Like when they pressure vulnerable people not to take a blood transfusion, that's obviously really bad extortion,
Yes, of course.
which will lead to death. And I know Russia has, and Watchtower say in court, no, we would never disfellowship anyone for not taking a blood transfusion. And the
Mm-hmm.
same, I have letters here, they write to the Norwegian government, they refuse people to vote. And they say, no, we don't refuse them to vote. We just see it as if they don't want to be Jehovah's Witnesses, we accept it. And we take their family because of voting. But
Yeah,
so,
they are.
no, they are sleazy. But if you wrote a letter
Mm-hmm.
to your parents, they say you don't want to be Jehovah's Witness, and you confirm that to two Jehovah's Witnesses. So if like your mother and your father said, is this really you wrote this? Well, then if they reported you, you're gone.
Yeah.
And you will not be informed of that because you informed them.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So,
so I wouldn't know technically, but it seems like they haven't really brought it to them yet. So, um I don't know, maybe they're trying to hide something or hoping I'm coming back. I don't know what their plan is, but it is what it is. I know that I am myself definitely dissociated, so those are just words
yeah,
as we just discussed.
yeah. So, to our viewers, basically, this letter, they are already shunning you. They claim they don't know where you are, but even I know where you are. You're in college or something.
Mm-hmm. They actually, yeah,
And
they do. Yeah.
they also claim in this letter that your mother claims that she gave birth to you, so she knows that you're a heterosexual.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She has first-hand knowledge. But
Yeah.
after talking to you 1 hour, it's pretty easy, the flamboyant stuff.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to figure out that that's not me, but yeah, she claims in the letter, and she's told me before in the past, which is why I struggled with it so much, that oh, I always knew you were straight because I would see you looking at pretty girls and I would see you always stare at them. But I mean, that's not really enough really to know whether I'm necessarily attracted to women for the rest of my life. Who knows? Maybe I liked how their makeup looked. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But they just like to go down to the specifics to kind of, make their points and sorry about that, and kind of, manipulate the things that have happened to me and try to make me think a certain way. But it's kind of been the majority of my life, so I'm used to it by now.
Yeah, you used it. Yeah, and you're taking it well. So, would you mind reading parts of the letter, the
Um,
stuff that's?
Sure, yeah. I don't know if the viewers want just like a little background. Basically, I
Yeah, because a lot of witnesses get letters like this, and they're basically very abusive because they're
Mhm.
putting all the blame on you for not
Yeah,
being a Jehovah Witness.
yes, yeah. And basically, I left about a month ago. I left them a letter kind of just explaining everything about why I left. And I went to university with one of my friends. I was able to get scholarships and save up money to support
Oh,
myself on my own. But the week of, actually, my parents also tried to hack into my college accounts, and they tried to hack into all of my information in order to stop me from going to university. They even found out the exact dorm that I lived in. So the RAs and the police department actually had to find ways to not only take them out of that, and the IT department also had to find ways to take me out of that and to find a new dorm for me. So they definitely know my whereabouts. They just now they don't know exactly where I'm living. But basically, this letter is after just about like maybe two more correspondence after that. And yeah, it says, today marks 1 month you've been gone. I decided to reread your letter, last letter, to try and make believe I'm talking to you. I will start saying, but Mickey has been sad and depressed. Mickey happens to be my dog. Um, so again, she's just trying to make me feel, guilty about leaving everything. And she said, if a dog that is not human reacts that way, can you even imagine what we are going through? You have no idea what this has done to us as a family. I wonder, do you even think of us, miss us, or imagine what our life is now? You mentioned in your letter how speaking to us has an effect on your school work and work life and social life, but what about us? Do you have the slightest idea what this has done to us?
yeah.
Layla, yeah.
Obviously, they are the victims here.
Yeah, clearly. Even though it's their decision to just accept me as who I.
Okay, so there's a girl's name here. I guess that's your younger sister.
That is my younger sister's name.
Okay, we will not use her name, so we can call her
Call her, I guess, Lily. Lily. All right.
Lily.
Yeah.
Okay, it
All
says
right.
Lily. Lily tries to be happy and smile, but the sadness never leaves her eyes. She started doing schoolwork in your room to feel close to you. She tries to be strong for me, but she's crushed. She only thinks about things she wanted to do with you that she'll never get a chance to do. Your dad is beyond depressed. I have never seen him this way. He's crushed to no end. He cannot even put music on of the few things that brought him joy. I think I might have had a heart attack and died. I'm base I basically fainted when you left and my chest was hurting so bad. I only felt calmer when your dad went into your email and we had an idea where you were. I don't know if it is night time or where you are. I barely function. How? Why? Our constant question we ask ourselves. So, well, obviously they are sad, but it's your fault,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
according to
that's
them.
kind of just, the recurring theme about how I have ruined everything. I have crushed the family, over and over again. And it's been, if without my support system, I don't know how I would have been able to get through it, because it's taken a lot for me to realize that it's not my fault.
No.
My friend kept on telling me, it's not me doing this to them, it's them doing this to me, because it's really their decision as being part of that religion, to not accept me as who I am.
Yeah, it's not like you're telling them to be straight. It's not like you're telling them. I'm not telling my parents to stop being Jehovah Witness or believe in Santa Claus slash Jehovah or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, basically.
You're a grown up basically, and so am I. And
Yep,
kids
I'm
are
19 years
supposed to do stuff they want to do.
old. Yeah,
It says here, I only felt calmer after your dad went into your email.
yeah.
You sent
So
him an
that's what.
email,
So
or they hacked.
yes, he hacked into my email, and
Right?
he hacked into the main email that I used, and then that's how he got access to my college email. He got access to a couple other things, and basically tried to make my life a living hell. And it's really interesting how they said, do you even think of us and miss us? Because in the last email I sent them, I told them those very things, that I love them and think of them all the time. But of course, they really only take out the parts of letters that they really want to listen to and want to use against me, rather than the nice things that I have said. You know, I definitely, I tried to be as kind as possible in both instances that I've contacted them. You know, maybe I wasn't perfect, but I definitely have never tried to maliciously hurt them in any way.
No,
But, you
but
know, that's kind of, sorry, you can go.
no. I'm just thinking here now, and obviously this is your choice. But hacking an email and trying to sabotage your life—that's a crime. If my
Yes,
parents did
and
that, I would press for charges because obviously they are probably nice people. Jehovah's Witnesses are nice people, but crazy. And
yeah,
like my parents, I remember when my uncle was disfellowshipped and we treated him like shit and he committed suicide. And I'm not proud of that. And their reaction was, well, that was the best thing he could do. You know, their
oh yeah, I watch that all the time.
grasp of reality doesn't work. I remember the elders were trying to run me out of business here, not because they were competing, they just wanted me to fail. Because if I fail, I have nothing and can spend more time for
Exactly,
worship. So,
exactly.
if
I
they believe
remember a
the right
sister.
thing to do is to sabotage your life, I would press for charges because they will not stop. Obviously, change your
Yeah,
password.
and that's the fun. Oh yeah, well, what happened was they found a way, because my dad is an IT specialist, so he knows how computers work. They found a way where I can still access the email, but they like blocked off. The only way I can change the password is if they put like two-factor authentication on it, and then the only way I can change the password is if I have their phone number. So I just said, fine, I'm going to make two brand new emails. And somehow they did find those two new emails, but they didn't find the information for that. But and because of that, actually, that's why they committed another crime last Friday, where they used that same email again, and which I wrote in the Facebook post as well, how they contacted my school and they told them that I was suicidal and that I had left my parents a nasty letter and hadn't seen them in 30 days. And they were impersonating me, actually. They were actually speaking as if I was the one saying these things. And the effect of that was my first day on the job, a bunch of police officers come storming into the restaurant asking for me. So you can imagine how that was. But I definitely am looking into getting some legal help. I
I
still,
would press for charges.
I know
I
that seems
would.
like the right to do, pressing charges. I still want to try my best to at least maybe do a cease and desist letter. And if it escalates from there, then doing something like pressing charges. But at the very least, if I can have a restraining order, maybe they will at least get the hint. And if they can't respect my boundaries, at least they can respect the authorities' boundaries, if you know what I'm saying.
Everything is about motivation. If you have the motivation to do something stupid, you will continue as long as you have the motivation, unless someone stop you. And they believe that this is the way they will save your life. And I know
Exactly.
because they believe we're mentally diseased. There's obviously no other reason why you would be gay or non-witness. And I know it makes a really compelling argument if they gather the whole family, like 20 people, and say he's mentally diseased, he's delusional, we need to put him in hospital, and you say I don't need help. I'm saying that's like,
Yeah.
you can actually, I know, well, they tried to do it with me. I don't know if they tried to say I was, yeah, all kinds of stuff. They should take me to the doctor because I was crazy, just for not
Mhm.
believing.
Yeah, they just said, like, I could even pull up that odd email. It was crazy. They wrote it to my use to like the university at like 3 a.m. and they wrote, "Hi, my name is Brandon. I ran away from home. I am suicidal and I haven't seen my parents in 30 days." It was the most odd letter, um, odd email, and it was just crazy because I had no idea why all these police officers were around me, and they could tell that I was really confused as to what's going on. So thankfully everything got situated. But they also told me, they said, this is definitely worthy of filing a report. So it's your decision to do so. So we'll see.
Yeah, but they are also wasting police
Well,
time, taxpayers' money. That's a crime, also.
exactly. I thought of that too. I thought of that too because they actually spent a lot of time just trying to find me because I was at my job and no one knew where I was. But yeah, if you want, I can continue on with the letter and see what else they have to say. But
Yeah, I just find it interesting. We are the bad guys. We're the apostates. We're supposedly love Satan and hate our families, and still we're retracting their names from a letter they wrote.
mm-hmm.
That's how
Right.
we respect their privacy, and we're
Yeah.
supposed to be the good one guy. Yeah, you can keep reading if you want to.
Okay. Well,
It
just
says,
more guilt tactics. They said, it isn't fair that we know nothing about you for over a month. Do you have enough money? What are you eating? It is hard to even swallow food, knowing if you have eaten. How are you getting around with a car? Just all these different things, all these different questions, basically, that they want answers to that I haven't really told them about. And she says, no mother deserves this. If anything happens to you, does anybody know to contact us? And the answer to that is, of course, I have people who would tell my parents, of course, but they're just saying on and on how they do not deserve this treatment, that I can't text them or email them that I'm okay or good nights, nothing. I've been erased. They've been erased from my life like they never existed, which is, none of this is true. None of this is true. I definitely do plan on at least maintaining minimal contact for the time being. Maybe saying things like, I'm safe. I hope you're doing well, but I would never do any of these things that they're saying. It really is just all kind of gaslighting in different ways to manipulate my emotions. And it really did affect me when I got this email. I was in a state of like anxiety and shock, and I had to talk to my therapist about it. But, now thankfully I'm in a clear mindset, and reading this letter again, I can understand kind of what's going on here. you know
Yeah.
All right, can you hear me well? Is everything going on well?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay. All right.
I can skip a few. It says, you say we are indoctrinated, but you are being indoctrinated by the apostates. Good for you. You don't look at two sides of the story. How about the millions of other non-witnesses who have only good things to say about us? Did you ever do true research to know if we have the truth? But you take the words of apostates for face value. Do you challenge them to see if what they are saying is truth? Are you listening to testimonials? How do you know they are saying the truth? It makes it easier, doesn't it, to practice what is wrong if you feel everything is made up? A way to appease your conscience. The worst part, to try to get Lily involved, leaving her a wicked letter. You really thought she would not tell us. She had the most severe panic attack I have ever seen and hope never see again. So, how dare you not have any contact with them, and how dare you leave them a letter?
Yes. Yeah, I thought that paragraph was just really interesting and kind of, I could see the hypocrisy in it because they tell me that how to see two sides of the story, but they would never actually want to see the apostate side of the story. And I've seen one side of the story like for 18 years of my life. I've been in the Kingdom Hall for 18 years of my life, and I've only learned about apostates recently. But yet she says not looking at both sides of the story. It's really interesting how they use their own word against them. It's very, very hypocritical. But at the
Yeah,
same time, I just feel like because
yeah,
because I
there's
know
a
like they're just in a blinded state right now, and
Yeah. It says you have, how about the millions of other non-witnesses who have only good things to say about us? Yeah, because they don't know anything about the Jehovah Witnesses. Like when you talk about Jehovah Witnesses, they say, oh, their children is always smiling. Well, when I was a kid, I used to get a beating if I wasn't smiling. So I... Yeah, she writes here, being a witness is probably the only thing that had kept me alive and happy. I probably would have committed suicide years ago with the depression I get. I do not have total happiness, but the bit I do have comes from belonging to Jehovah's organization and his future promises. You claim the world is not as evil and will not be destroyed in Armageddon, but you, my dear, are in for a rude awakening. So this is kind of typical for Jehovah's Witnesses, because they say, I'm depressed, I would have committed. The religion makes them depressed, but I also tell them that the only reason why they are not depressed is because of the religion. It's pretty easy when you go outside. Did we lose him? Did we lose you? Okay, he told me his internet is kind of going back and forth. Oh, you're back? Okay, so I just, yeah, he's coming back. So I can just read some while he's gone here. Your father and I might be unhappy individuals for many reasons, but I can tell you the only thing that brings us joy is the truth from the Bible. I was surprised how you bring up religion, but never in your letter did you say Jehovah or the Bible. Yeah. My dear Brandon, you can go to millions of religions that will sugarcoat, pick and choose what you want to hear. They want to appease their conscience and conduct to continue their way of living. There is a reason why gays need to protest, because deep down they know it is wrong and unnatural. And this is why they never will be able to have biological children. First thing, they can have biological children. I'm a single man. I can have biological children. All I need is to find a woman. So can gay people. Yes, I am angry, sad, hurt, and disappointed, confused, feel betrayed, and even despondent this day. You said the decision was ours. Well, you're right. The decision is up to me, but it is up to you too. I am not changing for you. Jehovah deserves my love. He will never leave me. So I think he came back. Hello. You're back?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes. I came to the point. They said she's angry, hurt, and disappointed. Yeah, and it's the same. It's really sad with Jehovah's Witnesses. It's like, an alcoholic will say, well, my life is crap, but, alcohol is my friend. Alcohol makes me happy. Alcohol makes me relax. I come home from work, I need to relax, and I use alcohol. And, alcohol for them is the good thing. The thing that makes life worth living. Everything is crap except alcohol. And alcohol will never betray you. You drink alcohol and you get exactly what you need. And they think this is a good thing. And to everyone else around them knows this is bad. So she's depressed. And your father is also depressed. And the only thing in their life that's good, according to her, is Jehovah's Witnesses. And Jehovah's Witnesses made her lose her son. And so she's happy. It's sad. So I don't know if you hear.
It's the only thing that stopped from committing suicide.
Yeah.
I can hear everything very well. It's just my screen that's all.
Okay,
no, but very slow.
just talk, because I don't know if so. Yeah, this is sad. So Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
and she says, "I gave birth to you, and I know you were not born gay." I gave birth to you. I know you were not born gay. I saw, little boy,
Oh
how
my
you would be
goodness. Yeah.
mesmerized by little girls. Okay,
Apparently that's how I was as a child. But you can hear
he
me?
says, "You were 3 or 4 years old asking me for money to buy a little girl a ring you were crazy about. I saw how your eyes glazed at little girls. You changed after that boy molested you. This is not undermining your feelings about it, but we could have helped you if you let us in. Even then, after the incident at Stanton, we tried to give you all the help we could give, but you refused to talk about it when I would try to bring it up. We wanted to help you with your problem, but instead you delved right into DA with your friends and whatever you were listening to and watching on your phone." So, what were you watching on your phone? Is it gay porn?
It wasn't actually. It was YouTubers, gay YouTubers that I used to watch, and it was kind of my outlet at the time. Like I was watching people, live normal lives and be normal people. As gay people really reminded me that I was not something so abnormal and so, um, just awful. We were just people, and I would watch people. If anyone on the viewers know Tyler Oakley or many other LGBTQ subscribers and or YouTube creators, and that was kind of my way and my outlet of not feeling so alone. And
Yeah.
when they found all of that, they found it really. Um,
But may I ask, those gay YouTubers, was like a gay channel only talking about gay stuff, or was it like a normal person talking about normal stuff while being flamboyant? That kind of, why did she react like
it
this?
was a mixture. It was a mixture of both. Like sometimes they would talk about maybe it would talk about like relationships. Maybe there were some in there that would talk about like I was curious, so like I would look about like how gay dating works, how gay sex works, but like I would it was just like really most of it was really just gay people doing normal things for the most part. And it angered them seeing all of that. It angered them greatly. Um, just as much as seeing anything else, really. They've always been very adamant against, homosexual, as Jehovah's Witnesses are. Um, but I know my dad personally experienced molestation growing up, so that's kind of what fuels more of his hatred for homosexual people because of his experiences as a child.
Hmm. Yeah, they used to watch also, and a lot of people, they assumed that gay people were child molesters, which, well, obviously they can, but that's that's not what being gay is all about. Uh, so
Definitely not
okay,
the same thing.
no, 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 definitely not. It's like being heterosexual. It doesn't mean I'm a rapist. I'm not even a potential rapist. If a drunk woman walk into my bedroom, that actually happened to me once when I was a young man. Young man, 19 years old, and a drunk worldly woman pretty walked into my bedroom. I did not do anything illegal because you're good people. Your sexual motivation doesn't make you a criminal, no matter what it is. It's weird. Okay. You have to speak if you can speak, because your picture freezes here. So she says, "You said I called you disgusting when you were in seventh grade and found stuff on your computer, but you have not been the only one. I called Lily." So called you. called Lily. I have double here. Yeah. So the mother basically writes that I called you disgusting, but that's nothing wrong with that because I also called your sister disgusting. Yeah, that's a good way of raising children, telling them that they are disgusting for growing up. Welcome back. So, and I like this next segment. It says, the apostasy hurt even more than homosexuality. You can come back from that, but apostasy attacked Jehovah and his people. Please speak. If your microphone is working. Now it's not working. Let's see if it. Are you sure your microphone working? You can go up and see if you can fix it. I can just read. Poor mother, I feel sorry for her, but it's her choice. She says, it's cruel being left in the darkness. We do not know if you're even alive. A simple text saying, hello, I'm fine. I tried contacting you several times after your last letter. I told you about Mikey. Silence. I asked you if you wanted to pick you up for Labor Day weekend. Silence. I sent you a Zoom information to see if you wanted to see us. Silence. For all you know, we could have died. Every second of the day is not guaranteed. You are doing this to all three of us. We did everything together, especially during this pandemic, and then you leave us and never talk to us like we are trash, like we were never a part of your life. It's selfish and it isn't right. You don't do this to a mother. I've loved you more than anything, and this is how I'm repaid. I will have to contact the school tomorrow to see if you are alive. I can only imagine that someone is encouraging you to do this and stay away from the persons who love you the most. Nobody will love you more than us. Never. That's an evil thing to say, actually. That no one will love you more than us. That's what psychopaths say. Sorry, I cannot. I feel sorry for your mother, but that's what the psychopaths say when they say, I love you. You're a terrible person. I love you, and no one else will. You have to stay with me. Is your microphone working now? No, we can't hear you. There is some kind of edit thing. You can go and edit your. Are you sure it's plugged in? Sorry about this. We practiced before and we tried to find a good. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to remove him and he can. Okay, listen to me now. I remove you and you can go in and there's a thing you can edit and see if your mic is working and check. So just try it again. Or say something now, see if it's working. Nope. Well, then I just remove him and can see kick from studio. And he can try to come in again. No, this is sad. This is sad. I know a lot of witnesses get letters like this from their parents. But it's not fair to blame kids, All parents are disappointed with their kids. I was I used to be pioneering. I used to live in my car, spending 10 hours a day preaching, and they were disappointed with me not wearing a tie. I was living in a Toyota Starlet. I had 3 boxes, one with food, one with literature, and one with clothing. I would bath in the sea, pick mussels to boil myself for dinner, go out preaching all day, isolated territory. Why don't you have a tie? You can't really get good rapport with farmers if you're standing there with a white shirt and a tie. They are standing to their knees in muck, and I'm standing there with a white tie, telling them the truth about Jehovah. So, no. So let's see here. If anyone, I will do this now, and
I think it's working now.
Yeah, we can hear you. So
You can hear me
It's
good?
working. So, huh? Just talk.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear
All
you
right.
well. Just tell us what woke you up.
Well, it honestly, it came over a long period of time. I started when I found John Cedars about 2 years ago, and at first
Never
I
heard of him.
still, even though I watched his videos, you can't hear me.
I know. I was joking. We
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you, John Cedars.
Uh, yeah, John Cedars, and I started with him, and then there I just kind of went down a spiral, and I would have little kind of just like aha moments where I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like I would watch videos about the child sex abuse stories and all of that, and then when I watch experiences of other XJWs who were homosexuals and things of that nature, and I just kept on watching them. And the more I would see different things, the more in my mind it would like have little clicks, and it really like finally fully clicked with me maybe about a month before I actually left my family. So only about maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I actually officially was like, wow, I can't, like, this is really not real, and I've really just been brainwashed my entire life.
Yeah.
So it was a long process, and it took a lot of convincing, because what I learned is really we're programmed. We're programmed to see all of this and to believe all this. And when you're programmed just like a computer, you have to deprogram from what you're learning. And
Yeah.
it was difficult. It was difficult, and there was a lot of times where I felt like I would just give up, and I would okay, I don't know why only part of my body's in the frame. I would, go back and forth and just want to give up and be like, maybe I'll just please them, because it would be so much easier, It's so much easier to, just have done what my parents said. But I knew now, not only did I not feel like I was living truthfully in the religion, but now I knew that I would morally feel wrong being part of the religion, something that supports child sex abuse allegations, something that, you know, lies to their followers over and over and over again, in so many different ways, hiding so many different things. And I just knew that it was definitely a relief when I found out that it's not real, at least to me, and um and that the Jehovah Witnesses have a big dark side. I also, another one that I really helped me was Amber Scora, and her story of being a missionary in China, and how that showed her how the world in different places kind of taught her that Jehovah Witnesses beliefs are not universal and not something that should be believed by all.
Yeah.
It really just, all those people kind of led me to the place I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's that's why we're making videos. People actually, it helps people. A lot of people leave the cult just because they can't be Jehovah Witness. Even if you're straight and want to live a normal life, no crime, no drugs, not anything, the witnesses believe, and they just don't want to be Jehovah Witness. So they leave for that reason, and then it takes like 10-20 years before they stumble on a XJW video, and and they're liberated mentally. Well,
I know.
it kind of clicks. Sometimes it just clicks. Most of the time they spend a month or two just watching everything. No, it's a good
Yeah.
thing. Okay, how is it to grow up gay? Because to be fair for Jehovah Witness, I think I always try to say nice things about them if it's possible, and they don't single out gay, at least in the Western world, as I've seen. If you're a man, they will hate you for masturbating, looking at women, looking at men. They will make you miserable anyway. while the Mormon
Yeah,
church,
well,
they will single you out in the congregation, like, him. So I think
well,
it's fair to say the nice thing about Jehovah Witnesses, because I have a friend that's like a billion times more flamboyant than you. He was my friend, and we're out in field service, and he was obviously gay. And the householder used to look at him, look at me, look at him, look at me, and like, you're supposed to be fanatics, don't you see him? And in the congregation,
yeah,
everyone was just constantly pretending they couldn't see the elephant in the room, and he's an elder now. So they actually treated him good, in a way. I think it's fair to
well,
say
yeah,
that.
I will say, um, you know, a lot. I'm not the only person in my family who has struggled with, homosexuality, and obviously I kept it a secret for, forever. There was one time I had to open up to the elders about the time when my parents found out I had kissed a boy, and that was really hard. But they weren't that bad, honestly. They were pretty nice about it. And my cousin, actually, he's the only person I've ever seen do this, but he actually openly tells people that and he is a Jehovah's Witness, he openly tells people that he is bisexual, that he does like men and women, and he doesn't mind because he says, I'm never going to act on those beliefs. I'm never going to act on those feelings. So I'm comfortable with telling people. And he's had some backlash here and there, but overall, people at least respect him for that. That he still has, friends in the congregation and whatnot. But yeah, I think also in terms of homosexuality and like people letting it be, I think it also depends on your cultural background. I know specifically for me, when I was in the Spanish and the English congregation for Jehovah's Witnesses, and in the Spanish congregation, they're a lot more strict, and they will, I'm not going to say make their own rules, but they would definitely enforce things a lot stronger in that
Yeah.
environment. Especially dealing with homosexuality, there was a lot of homophobia that run rampant in those certain places. But
Yeah,
overall, I would say
it's
I
more
guess they're
macho.
nicer than. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I used to hate I'm a heterosexual man, and I used to, as a child, believe it or not, masturbate. And I actually hated myself. I was thinking about suicide, and because, so uh, I have a gay friend,
Yeah.
and he was talking about coming out, and he's a worldly person, and he told me his word, coming out story, and like 99% of my friends knew it already, and all of them accepted it. But it was still hard for him. And then I told my story about growing up as a heterosexual boy, and he said, I was lucky being I thought it was difficult being a gay person in rural Norway, but I'm glad I wasn't a heterosexual Jehovah's Witness boy.
Yeah. I know it's crazy how that works out. But yeah, I would say the same things would happen to me when I would do things like that, and I would feel awful after, and pray hours to God for forgiveness and things like that. Um, and yeah, it would definitely affect me a lot. I definitely had lots of suicidal thoughts growing up, and it wasn't until I had learned it was wrong that was able to stop those suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
Hello, Brandon. Hello,
Yeah.
Jonas.
Hello.
Hi, this is Apostle Babe Linda James. Hello. Hi, Brandon. Hi, Jonas.
Hello.
Hi, guys. I asked to join, but I just wanted to explain why I don't usually show my face. I was never baptized, so I still get to speak to my family on occasion when, they're not condescendingly speaking to me. And I am a lesbian. So I wanted to join in on this conversation.
Yeah.
I left about 35 years ago, and I struggled with this for many, many years. And to be honest, coming out as a lesbian was actually tougher for me than leaving the watchtower. And we all know how tough this is, okay? This is quite the challenge. And I just want to commend you, Brendan, especially the fact that you are in therapy. I admire the wisdom. I admire the wisdom you have,
Thank
darling.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I definitely. Hello?
Yeah, just keep on talking.
Sure.
Yeah, see, I shut up when I want to hear you so that I don't talk over you. Go ahead, Lovely.
Great, But my mom and dad would also tell me growing up that therapy wasn't good because therapy would cause me to leave God because they'll put thoughts in me and make me think too hard. And I just think that's so interesting how they won't even actually go to therapy when my parents could definitely need it, because they suffered from depression themselves. But I'm so happy I'm in therapy as well. I think it's a great outlet and a great place to learn different tactics on how to deal with trauma and how to deal with different things that you deal with in your life. So, but thank you. I really appreciate your commendation.
And I just want to tell the listening audience that this letter that you're hearing being read and the terminology that's being used is very common for us to hear from our Jehovah's Witness loved ones and family as their way of truly, truly loving us. Now, just as Jonah said, this is behavior of a psychopath. Is that what you said? Psychopath, sociopath? I get the two mixed up. This is abusive.
I'm not a mental health professional, but a narcissist or
yeah, exactly. So, and I'm not either. I'm a hairdresser, so I'm a pseudo psychologist. So whatever. I've done some research, and it has been quite eye-opening to find out that these tactics that our loved ones as Jehovah's Witnesses will use on us are actually the tactics of malignant narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths. Across the board, this is abusive, and what it has been labeled to us is loving. And what the mindset of a Jehovah's Witness is they have the mindset of the ends justifies the means. Basically, whatever it takes to save your life, we will do to you. Yeah. So they I didn't know these things were abusive until I started researching. Do they know it's abusive? I wonder, because they're coming from a place of love, I believe, but it really is vindictive, and it's truly toxic. It's truly abusive. It's not deserved by any of us. But I just wanted to, go back and forth with, what it's like for us as being part of the LGBTQ community, and the reactions we get from Christians across the board, and our loved ones, our JW friends and family, and just to also put out there, and Daniel, I'm not sure what your spiritual background is. Your spiritual frame of mind is right now or not, and that really isn't where I'm wanting to go with this. But I do want to say that if there is anyone out there that is part of the LGBTQ community and still has the mind frame of being a Christian, there is a community out there for the LGBTQ Christians. You can look them up, just Google it, and you will find different churches or people that you can associate with that not only include you, but include straight people as well. So just know that, okay?
Yeah. They would say, you can't pick and choose from the Bible, but
good to know.
Everyone's picking and choosing from the Bible. There's not one religion, especially not Jehovah's Witnesses. They all, you know how good we are at flipping the pages.
Yes,
You're training, picking and choosing back and forth and back and forth.
exactly. And let's just, I also want to put this out here. King James did not write the Bible. He simply put his stamp of approval. So they needed somebody of King James stature to give the Bible a stamp of approval. You know, he was someone of stature to do this. He was a gay man, okay? This is something people can look up as well. So, you know, there's that.
Yeah. So I normally get, I posted some video about, there was an XJW Pride Mark, you know, there was, you know, Pride, and there was like a section that were XJW, and they made a video and I posted it on my channel with their, no, they made a video and I stole it with their permission and posted it on my channel.
Oh.
And yeah, and I got backlash from someone and I lost some subscribers for that. And yeah, please disappear. But what I tell to people when people are Christians and they believe it, I just say, if it's a crime, well, technically some places it is a crime, but if it's a crime,
True.
if people think it's a crime, it's still a victimless crime. There's no one's getting hurt, you know. It's like,
True.
you know, so there are places in the world where it is a crime still, but doesn't really matter. You know, I'm obligated as a Swedish citizen, I'm obligated to eat green peas every Thursday.
I
That
see.
makes me a criminal, and it's a very victimless crime. I don't feel like a bad person. So
Well, maybe you should adjust your conscience then.
no, it's an ancient law.
Well, I do know that you are about human rights.
Yep.
And the right and freedom of religion is just as important to you as all of the other human rights. So, you know,
people often just know about freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and then they don't know about any other. There's a lot of and like there's a human right called freedom of movement. It means within the nation where you are citizen, you have freedom of movement.
how would you sum this up?
No, just giving example, because those people that only know about freedom of speech, freedom of religion, they normally have a sign that says trespassers will be shot.
Okay. Now I get you. Okay. Freedom of movement, trespassers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because freedom of movement, your freedom of movement will be limited by my freedom of, this is my property. There's also
right.
owning your own property is also a human right. There's some difference from country to country, and I'm not a lawyer, but so
well, it does give.
There was some kid going to school with a big T-shirt that says homosexuality is a sin, and she was sent to school, and they meant that was a violation of her freedom of speech and freedom of speech and freedom of religion. It's not, because you don't have the duty to listen.
That's fascinating.
You know, my right, I have freedom of speech. I cannot walk up to a woman and tell her exactly what I'm thinking about her. Right.
Right.
Time, because she
and neither can I, you know.
Yeah. Brandon can.
and it probably works much better, you know, amongst men. Hi, Brandon. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. My internet connection isn't the best.
No, keep jumping back in. We want you here, and I just showed up in the middle of the couch, like I belong here.
Yeah. If there's anyone else that want to call in, you can do it. I just put a link here. I can be quite a Nazi if the microphone doesn't work. I'm nice to Brandon because he's the guest star. So okay.
I'm impressed that he is in college. I'm impressed that he has the knowledge that he has. I mean, for me, it's been years for me to come to realization that some of the tactics that has been used that I grew up at grew up on that I considered as normal behavior was in fact quite abusive, and
Yep.
he's aware of this at his age, and I'm just thrilled because it's such to me that is so eye-opening. And the sooner you realize these things, what a boundary is, the purpose of a boundary, and knowing when it's crossed and how to speak up for yourself, is huge things for us Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah. Oh, it feels so good to finally speak up for yourself. Like I was a PMO for 14 years, and all the constant abuse, I chose to stay for my sick wife, but ex-wife now. But when I went to London to the protest, it was I was awake for 44 hours in a row.
Oh,
Just
wow.
I couldn't. It's so powerful to finally stand up, and I was just standing with my sign that says European Convention of Human Rights. It's not even a statement.
It was so empowering, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You
I
were
recommend people to go on peaceful protest because it's really empowering just to stand up in public, smiling and just standing up for yourself, even without the sign.
yes. And
And
wasn't it London that had all of you behind, say, a gate that they set up a makeshift like they had these little dividers where you guys were behind a
yeah,
gate, so you had your own um, section. So I
yeah,
think that was done to make the people in the assembly feel like you had a boundary as well that you guys were not to cross. See how
yeah.
that worked for everyone?
Yeah, when we plan protest, I have a system, and one get to check, the area around because public land you can protest, you
Yes.
cannot block and obviously there's different legislations, and then you can have semi-public land like a railroad station is owned by the. It's owned by a company, and the company is owned by the government, so it's almost public land, but almost not. So there could be a different rule for that.
Oh,
and then,
that's fascinating.
yeah, and
Okay.
then the arena, is surrounded by sidewalks and stuff, and it looks like public land, but it's often owned by them.
And you do your homework ahead of time to find out.
Homework. Because
Good. I'm really glad to hear this.
we put a toe on the arena, Watchtower will call the cops on us. Well, they call the cops on us anyway.
Anyways, yes, of course.
But
Of course.
if we put a toe on the arena without asking, they might call. But sometimes the Watchtower, they are really nice also. So it's not like all.
Well, I've seen a video that you did with you were on a grassy area with a bench, and
Yeah.
some people came over with water and stuff, right? I remember that.
Yeah,
Either
yeah,
you offered them water or they brought it to you, and
yeah.
I think you were with very few people, maybe 7 people.
Yeah, that was in Copenhagen outside the international convention, and that was real. Well, I was interviewed in TV. The witnesses liked us. They waved us. We had this hashtag all religions must. We do have a
Mm.
very friendly approach. We got politicians to actually speak our cause. We also had. It was in the outside the city hall. Wasn't that good, but we got some politicians and ex-Mormons, ex-Muslims, and other people standing, having an appeal, which included a previous member of parliament who gave a speech.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. And the witnesses we got like a working. They are legalistic, so it's kind of you speak their. Well, obviously we can speak their language, so
Yes, we can. Yes.
yeah. So
Daniel, Brandon, I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to ask
Sure.
you what. Hi,
Go
honey.
ahead.
I wanted. You were in college, and I wanted to ask you what your goals are. What are you studying, and what do you have plans on where you might be going in your endeavors for college, university?
So growing up, I actually went to performing arts high schools, and the performing arts really became that place and outlet where I could be myself and be authentic, and that's kind of how I fell in love with it. So I'm actually majoring in. I'm a musical theater major, so I'm majoring in the performing arts. I hope to work professionally acting, and I also hope to be an arts education advocate in the future, and maybe even be a teacher in the future. So those are just some goals and some aspirations I would like to have. But yeah, basically the arts kind of helped keep my life sane when I felt very alone and very trapped within the religion. So that's why I decided to continue on with it for college as well.
This is fascinating because the arts, especially involving acting, you are playing a part of something or someone else, and you're referring to this as where you could be yourself. So can you expand a little bit more on that?
No, he's gone now, but he might.
Okay, I will ask him again. But
yeah,
this sounds wonderful because entertainment is extremely necessary in society at large. It's actually, when you go and see a play, or you go see a movie, or you hang out with a few friends at the local pub and shoot some pool and have a few beers, and you look at a different environment than your ordinary everyday environment. This is a little vacation, the entertainment aspect of somebody's life. It's a little vacation away from your everyday norm, and it helps you to rejuvenate you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important. Brandon, I was asking, can you hear me, love? Yes? Can you hear me? Okay, so you were saying that being involved in the arts helped you be your authentic self. Yet, if you're in a play or acting in a different character, can you expand on how that helps you be your authentic self if you're playing the part of somebody else?
That is something that's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was really more of the community. I know it sounds kind of ironic, but it's more of the community itself that kind of gave a really a familial aspect when being in plays, when being in that type of environment. And
Okay.
I also find just the arts in itself is a very empathetic art form.
This is true. I was telling Jonas the importance of entertainment and how important it is for society at large to be able to take an hour or two to see a live performance, whether it's the orchestra, whether it's a concert or a movie. Oh, he's gone again. Well, it's very, very important, and we need some of that. And it's fascinating that even within the Watchtower, they very rarely promoted entertainment time. Well, that would rejuvenate us.
Yeah. So a way I try to explain, the Watchtower thing is that imagine a psychopath. Everyone can, a psychopath, what will they do?
Yes.
Well, in the beginning, they will be extremely charming. They will lure you in. They will shower you with praise. Then they will all of a sudden be angry for nothing.
Correct.
And then it's everything good again. And as soon as you start moving away from them, they will love bomb you back. And they will constantly tell you that you're a piece of shit, but I'm taking care of you. Everyone else would hate you, but I love you even though you're a piece of shit,
Exactly.
And so what Watchtower do is Watchtower is like a narcissist, and they train up drones. We go to the meeting and learn how to act like psychopaths. They say,
correct.
If there's not much interest in the field, what should we do? Well, you should look out for vulnerable people. They taught us to look for people that have no friends, look for people that are new to the country and don't speak the language. That's why they have all these English congregations in Europe, foreign language congregations. Look for people that lost someone.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, and then they taught us, how to love bomb. We were trained how to love bomb. We were trained how to teach people not to love themselves. to remember that they
Yes.
deserve to die. All those things that a psychopath would do is broken up in small lections that we would practice on Tuesday. So 2 sisters would go up and one would say, I'm so sad my son died. And the other would say, this is what a narcissist would do.
Exactly. Yes.
So they're basically trained to be, I was one of them,
I was too. Yes.
So every time in every situation, so we would press someone down and make them feel bad about themselves. But if they started leaving the organization, let's not talk about how terrible you are and deserve to die. We put that aside and we start with love bombing again. So every time you almost leave, then we just love bomb you back. And if that doesn't work, worst case scenario, we just cut it But basically, everything that a sociopath would do is what we trained on at the meetings. So the training,
Correct.
a good person, bad.
Correct. Correct. Raise up a child in the way they should go is training to be a psychopath. That is correct.
Yeah.
And Brandon was talking about in the community of the arts, he was speaking of the familia. So he has found a community, a culture of the arts, and that we all have a need for this to tap into different places.
Yeah.
That gives us a sense of family, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when we find ourselves involved in a group that wants to make sure you get rid of all of your blood family for the purpose of replacing your family, this is dangerous.
Yeah.
Hello, Allie.
Hello. Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I do hear you.
Thanks for letting me in.
Brandon, are you still there?
Yeah, he speak if he's there, and then we'll hear him.
Okay. No problem.
But I'm going to leave this up so people can, there's a lot of young people gay young people, brothers and sisters. I still call them brothers and sisters. The governing body cannot tell me that these people are not my brothers and sisters. So,
well, I see you as a brother of mine, and you're way over on the other side of the earth. But when you make your videos, I can relate so much to the way you speak. And yes, I'm one of your heretic friends. Hello. Hello, heretics. I'm like, yay, that's me.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Thank you.
But I was thinking I'm going to leave this up so young kids that, I was about to say struggle with homosexuality. Young LGBTQ people can watch it because they maybe need someone to talk to. Could you tell your story about leaving and coming out lesbian, if you don't mind, Linda?
Sure. So I left the organization about 35 years ago, and I, as I was growing up, did notice that I was attracted to women, and that I was very much a tomboy. But I didn't even know what to call it. I could not articulate it, but I just noticed it, But once I did realize what it was never allowed to be flourished. It was never allowed to be anything that could be possible. And my story is that I was raised from birth in the organization and left when I was 18 or 19, and I was never baptized. And it wasn't for a lack of trying. I tried to study twice, but it didn't make sense to me, and I needed it to make sense. So after 6 months, they would be done with me. They're like, we're done with this woman or this child or whatever. But I needed things to make sense. So, but I also was very much indoctrinated that this was wrong. Homosexuality was wrong. So I wouldn't entertain it much, but it was always there. And then in my adult life, my early adult life, there was a time when that development got to develop, and it was so amazing that the experience for me was like receiving missing ingredients that my mind, my soul, my body had craved all my life, such as vitamins and minerals. Like my body was lacking these things, and once this time of intimacy happened, it was like, oh, I had needed this all along and didn't realize it, you know? So denying that was very hard for many, many years. So I did not come out until about 12 years ago. And I'm now 56.
Oh.
So this was a struggle for me. It was a crisis of conscience for me. Huge, you know. God's not okay with it. So after I left the organization, I spent many years being a Christian in mainstream Christianity. So of course it's not allowed in there either. But when I did come out, I was involved in the LGBTQ Christian community for a good 5 years or so. So that's out there as well. When I started to get into the history of the Bible and Christology and things such as this, I'm now at a place of being an unbeliever as a Christian and the Bible, and I'm at peace with that. I never thought I would find myself here, but I am here. You know, all the years of being a Jehovah's Witness and all the years of being a Christian, I never thought that I would be someone that's just not a believer or agnostic or whatever. But that's actually brought me a lot of peace to not think about every single demon under every single rock. It's very it's very nice. And yeah, so that's where I am today.
Yeah. But okay, so but we're talking when you came out of the organization, that's 35 years ago. So obviously a lot have happened in the society in general since then.
True, but I was raising 3 kids, and I had 2 marriages. I was raising 3 kids, so I was very trying to figure out how to parent. And I got to raise my kids all to think very independently. They're all 3 very unique individuals, and amazingly, when I did come out, all 3 of them supported me in this, and I was just elated. I'm getting I have goosebumps right now that even though I raised them to think independently, they were at a place of supporting me in that. So that was beautiful.
Yeah. So okay, so I muted Brandon and Alan. That's not because I don't want you to speak. It's just when you don't speak, it's a good thing to mute so we don't get so just if you want to say something, just unmute and start talking. So anyway, so
when I started my channel, I wanted to simply put out the characteristics and tactics of malignant narcissists and stuff, so that people would be aware of these tactics that across the board all destructive cults will use, so that we can be aware of them. Now, during the 2018 convention, they had this video about this gal who went into a store that had a bunch of lesbians in there, and the way that they depict a straight Christian advocate or an ally for the LGBT community, the way that they depicted her as hostile, I said, no, this is not right. And I chose to come out to my audience, and that was quite challenging. I was never going to tell my audience that I'm lesbian. I didn't see that as being necessary when teaching these characteristics of a cultic relationship. But when that came out, that's when I chose to come out to my audience. So it's my video called Coming Out. You know, be courageous, coming out. So I got to use that video. I got to show people a true straight Christian ally of the LGBTQ Christian community. And she's very different than what the Watchtower depicts. So it wasn't it's okay to be a lesbian thing. It was the Watchtower's lying to you. And I brought up more about what the allies are like, because in actuality, the purpose for this video was to make sure that no JWs become allies of the LGBTQ community. Yeah,
you're right. Allies of the LGBT community are terrible people that defend according to that.
Right. And it was very tricky how the Sally, I believe her name was, answered the lady, the hostile ally, the hostile straight Christian ally. I respect your right to choose. You know, even that I didn't even correct, okay, because that's crap. I stuck mainly on no, they're lying to you about what an ally is, and let me show you a real life ally. And that's what I did in my video. But so I took that opportunity to come out to my audience and out to the XJW community and people such as Daniel. I mean, Brett, I don't know why I'm calling you Daniel, Brandon. I'm sorry. This is kind of a deep dyslexic thing I do. Sorry. I'll say different names. Okay, so I'm so sorry, Brandon. I'm so proud of you that you did not have to deny yourself for so long, that you're tapped into yourself enough to realize who you are authentically. Because when we have to deny who we are, which is basically the whole existence of becoming a Jehovah's Witness, taking off the old personality, putting on the new, you know, this causes depression. If you cannot be who you authentically are, if you cannot nourish your gifts and your, thoughts, because it all gets squashed down, then you can easily become molded into that malignant narcissist, that psychopath, because the organization is not giving any other place for us to grow. And you've done it sooner than me, and I applaud you. Woo-hoo.
I really saw that what you just said. You said when we have to quote unquote take off that old personality and become someone new, and how it causes depression. I saw that really kind of showed me, that was my first take, that this doesn't seem like the perfect religion that everyone makes it out to be, because I would see how sad my parents were, depressed often. My dad has actually struggled with homosexuality a large part of his life. I mean, and he also is attracted to women, obviously, but he struggled with that all his life, and I could see how that affected him, how that had affected his arrogance, his anger issues in general, and his depression, and how it also affected my mother. My mother was an extremely, smart and ambitious individual as a young girl, and of course, she was denied to go to college. Her parents would not let her go to college, of course, and I know that there's a lot of regret there for her, because she could have been so much. I know she could have, and she was also had to remove that part of her personality, that's herself. And I really have seen how the effects of this religion have caused them to make the rash decisions that they've made today, make those manipulative decisions, or have problems like anger issues, like depression and suicidal tendencies, And I'm just very grateful that, I'm very similar to you in the sense that I've kind of grown away from Christianity, but I at the same time have also connected to the idea of that everything happens for a reason. And I do believe that, like, my bad experiences growing up really were the things that also taught me to be the person I am today. So, and to understand, and I'm just really happy that I understood also at my age kind of how occult behavior affects a person's life long term.
Yeah.
I was pregnant with my second child before, and I was 25 years old before my mother stopped beating me. And that was because I finally hit her back. It was on her upper arm, and it was quite wimpy, but just the fact that I swung back to her and did not allow her to beat me was humongous for me. We were taught to receive abuse, and that abuse was in fact love. Yeah. But what happened was my oldest daughter had walked into the back door at that moment, and something snapped in me. And I said to myself in my brain, if my daughter sees my mother beat on me, my daughter will see my mother as the final authority. And that would mean that my daughter would grow up a Jehovah's Witness. And that was the last thing I ever wanted for her. So I hit her back. I told her off, and I threatened to take her down if she ever touched me again. This was a monumental moment for me, one I never thought I would even be in. And I had no idea it was criminal. After I told her off and she left the house, my neighbors came running to the door and said, "Are you okay?" I told them what happened, and a neighbor said, "You know, you can press charges on your mother." Brandon, I had no idea that I could. I had no idea this was a crime.
No.
And I thought to myself, oh no, I can't. That's my mother. You know, see how I was trained to receive this? This is learned helplessness. This is learned.
Yeah.
We were taught to be helpless when, you know, when beat down. The things that your parents have done to you that are criminal, do consider, you know, how you want to handle that, and if it serves you as empowering you. Please do.
I'm definitely considering all my options. I got in contact with all my university's legal services and victim services. And we'll see, you know, where the trajectory goes. But I definitely think that it is important for me to take some sort of legal action at this point. You know, if anything, for my sanity, so I could have some separation for a bit, you know. But
right, and it does not mean that you are cruel or unloving. It means that you've chosen yourself, because we have this sense of we can't do this to our family, our Jehovah's Witness family and friends, because it would be cruel. But the longer we keep not doing something that is stating that this is not okay, you are not to do this, we're actually still standing there allowing them to do this further.
Yeah, because witnesses do what they get told, and our parents used to be told that they should beat the children. Like
Yes.
My mother was very sad. She said it was very difficult to beat my older brother. You know, she used to say that you were lucky you didn't get so much beating as your older brother. And she said the elders told her that she would beat him because he fell asleep during the meeting while he was a toddler. The elders told him, you know, that's a bad toddler because he fell asleep during the 2-hour meeting, and we want you to beat him. So the witness, and now why did Jehovah's Witnesses stop doing that? Well, for legal reasons.
Correct.
Because we can sue Watchtower, basically. If they keep writing that you should beat your children, we can sue Watchtower. So they started using other words like when you're giving physical discipline, and then they started to say refer to it as non-silent discipline.
Really.
I'm translating from the Swedish.
Okay. Yes.
But
yes.
You know, non-silent discipline, or if you're not, you know, they used to beat us in the Kingdom Hall, and then they said, if you cannot lovingly discipline your child in a silent way, you should wait until you come home, and that means beat them at home. But you know, for legal reasons, they stopped, and but the witnesses didn't stop beating the children until Watchtower stopped telling them. And I know you, Linda, you look at the propaganda video, and maybe you notice the same as me, that they constantly tell the Jehovah's Witnesses parents that they are supposed to read the children's email and stuff like that.
Absolutely. What they did to Brandon came from a place of totally wanting to save their lives, to save his life. It was illegal. It was criminal. It was horrifying. It was a horrifying violation of, you know, whatever. I can't even come up with the word. I'm so mad. But see, when I was coming out of the Watchtower at the beginning, a lady named Cynthia Hampton took me under her wings about 7 years out from when I left the organization. Now, she was on the Leah Remini show with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and she was sitting next to Fifth on that show in a cobalt blue dress. And she mentioned how her husband used to beat her. Now, see, when I met her, she told me this story. It didn't even faze me. I didn't know it was abuse. I did not know this was abuse at that time. And she said, but he got disfellowship for smoking. And this was this was the story of the show that took Leah Remini to that statement of unfrickin' believable. You know, he beats on her, but he gets disfellowship for smoking.
Yeah.
What kind of rationale is that? It's the rationale we were taught. So back then, I didn't even know it was abuse. It didn't even faze me. And today I see it with outrage because I've learned since then. So it takes time to, you know, so knowing that Brandon is understanding these things sooner, it just makes me so happy that, and today, you know, my oldest grandson is 15. So, and seeing this in you gives me so much hope that today's Jehovah's Witness children and teenagers and young adults have done their research and they have access to this. Everybody's carrying a smartphone in their hands. Google is there for a reason. Look up the words. Look up all of it. You are entitled to do so. And Article 18, freedom of religion, also gives you the right to change your religion or have no religion at all.
Yeah.
I have a video on that of Article 18 on my channel as well. Please check it out.
Yeah. It's weird. I used to be a Jehovah Witness. It's weird to look back. I used to be one of the crazy people. But Ali, do you have something to say?
Well, I just wanted to pop in really quick and say it is exciting because, you know, the chatter in various XJW communities and posts and social media is like, we just want to see it fall, but it is falling like one brick at a time. Like Brandon is a brick that removed himself. I am, you are, Linda is, all of these people. And so it is falling, and the dysfunction stopped with us. Like we stopped the spread of the Watchtower disease and narcissism. And it's just very exciting and encouraging. And I'm happy that Brandon's in school.
Yeah, I think it really was just, you know, with all the resources we have now, because, you know, we could have even gone back 10 years ago and there wasn't nearly as many resources as there is.
Yeah. I guess if we were talking about this propaganda video they had with the lesbians that were aggressive and terrible, but the worst person was the Christian that supported lesbian. Oh, terrible. And because they mentioned that in court in Stockholm when the court case I was on, and this elder so the prosecution, they didn't really show the videos because that's not what it was about. It was about them showing videos without a permit, period. So it didn't really matter what kind of videos there was. But they asked them anyway that there were some videos about, you know, portraying gay people like in a very negative way. And the elder did it. Okay, I can't remember. It's so stupid. You're sitting in court pretending you can't remember. Like, I didn't prepare for this court case. I didn't know it was today. It's so stupid. I said, okay, I can't remember. Maybe there was something about how it's important for us to respect everyone. Or more like how we should act when people don't respect us. That's what they say. Make themselves victim, but it's so stupid just to pretend that I don't remember.
Well, somebody else.
This is a familiar. I'm sorry. This is a familiar stance we can watch in courts with Jehovah's Witnesses taking the stand on many situations. That's all I was going to say. This is just so familiar.
Yeah, it's like you're any person that's accused of a crime and say, did you commit this crime? What crime? I can't remember. What are we talking about? It's so pathetic to pretend you don't know why you're there. Anyway, you know, I have actually kind of funny story how I stopped being homophobic. Because I moved out here and it was isolated territory and I was out preaching, me and Jehovah, and it was kind of fun. I actually enjoyed it, and I got a lot of contact with people, and they would refer to me. They say, there's so much new, interesting people nowadays. We have Muslims gay people and Jehovah Witnesses, and they would always put me in the same category as Muslim and gay people and me. Like, when people say, I'm not a racist, I have a black friend, like that kind of thing. So, we have Muslims, Jehovah Witnesses. So I started getting sympathy for Muslims and gay people because we were always in the same category.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yep. We had something in common. And later, I was with a gay guy, and he said, well, I started preaching, and he said, I'm a gay person. And I thought the nicest thing I could say, I said, well, he asked me, what do you think about that? Because I identified as a Jehovah's Witness. And I said, well, that's your problem. And I thought that was a nice thing to say. And he said, it's not a problem. I like, ooh.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing hysterically with my mic off, but go. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then I thought, you should be open-minded and blah 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 blah. And they invited me home, and I thought, just because they're two gay guys doesn't mean they will rape me. And they just invited me to coffee. You should be, open to everything. And probably they make really fancy, nice coffees. I went there. We had a nice evening, and they made
a cup of coffee is a great reason to get to know a gay man. Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, I went there. I just thought, I should be not be biased and don't have any. What do you call it when you have prejudgment? What do you call it?
Yes.
Yeah. Prejudice. Yeah. So I thought,
Yes.
I should not be prejudiced. I should go there, and they probably make good coffee, but they made terrible coffee. And I thought, I'm stupid. Why would I assume that just because of their sexuality they make good coffee?
Right. It makes perfect sense. See what we base our thought processes on, and the whole tight pants thing is a point of and let me just say, it's understandable for men when they first become friends with gay people to look at them and go, to be a little scared, because they don't know what's going to happen next, if that man is attracted to them or not. 9 times out of 10 they're not. Okay. You have nothing to fear. But yes, it's an understandable concern. Now, when Anthony Morris III spoke of these tight pants and claimed, those homosexuals created those clothing so they could look at you in them, that was promoting a phobia of discrimination and fear in the men. If you think about it, that's what he was doing. A straight man having a gay man look at him with lust is scary, understandably so. But see what he did? Yeah. It's so wicked.
As a straight man, I guess if there's a gay guy that's really feminine and acting really feminine and dressing feminine, that can be a little confusing,
Sure.
You're talking to a guy, but you're finding 3% attractive. So that's how to say it kind of feel weird.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because I haven't heard a straight man say that they find any percent of that attractive.
No, they will not, because they are big and tall and macho, blah, 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 blah. But
sure,
obviously, we are attracted to feminine stuff, So if someone's acting really, really feminine in a good way, it's kind of weird. You get like percent.
And they didn't go to class. They didn't go to class to learn this. This is who they are. Yeah. Brandon, you were trying to say something a few minutes ago.
All I was just going to mention was I actually still remember that day so vividly when I watched that Anthony Morris talk within the congregation. And I still remember how the audience, the whole congregation roared in laughter. And I remember forcing myself to laugh when he started talking about the tight pants, and laugh, forcing myself to think it's funny, and inside just hurting so much when he was describing us horrible homosexuals as perverts who design clothes so we can see straight men's butts. I'm just looking back and hearing how ridiculous that sounds now.
Isn't that amazing how you, as a gay man, was presented as an evil perpetrator. How can you laugh at this?
They thought it was hilarious. I don't know.
It is hilarious in a way, a stupid way, of course, but
Well, yeah, his obnoxiousness to even go that far, it is funny. But they were laughing, I guess, in agreement. I have no clue.
Or maybe nervous laughter. I don't know. I remember that talk too, and it was just kind of like horror, feeling horrified that I was with a group of people I considered my people, my friends, and we're all laughing at the expense of others.
yeah. But I've seen that speech he gave several times, and he say, you know why they make this? Because they want to look at you, and the audience laugh, and he say, well, you're laughing. I find it disgusting. And then I've seen him do the same several times, exactly the same. So he wants them to laugh, so he can condemn them and be some extra self-righteous, which actually is really dishonest. You tell a joke, and they will laugh, and then you say, I find it disgusting. That's really dishonest.
Well, it's promoting the fear and prejudice and bigotry. And if you notice in all of the plays or the conventions or that I have seen, when a gay person is depicted, you do not see their face. You will see the backside of their head, but you don't get to see their faces. So you do not get to bond with the person as a person. They are a non-person.
They refuse to humanize gay people. I've always thought about that because they will never let someone even act as a gay person. They'll let people act as a bad person, as someone who's not Jehovah's Witness. They have had those people, obviously, people who are unbelievers or people who are even like LGBT supporters, but they won't actually put a real gay person and show their face. I've always thought of that.
Right. Now the gay person that, okay, if you remember the wife of Lot, she was late to the memorial. Why? Because the non-person gay person that she worked with made her late.
Yeah.
You never got to see his face, simply the back of his head. Now, it's no mistake in the number, I believe, 22 Sophia, Caleb and Sophia video that she draws a picture of her family and comes home and shows her mother this picture, and there's no face on her little brother's picture of the family picture. I believe there's no mistake to this.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And I wouldn't be surprised, this is conjecture on my part, no fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if later Caleb struggles with homosexual tendencies. And then they get to make stories about that, okay?
Yeah.
And it's the dehumanization has already started.
Yeah, now, I can tell you one thing about Watchtower. They can do stupid things and they can do mistakes, but they never do anything without a reason.
Correct.
So if there's no face, there's a reason why there's no face.
Correct. And this was the two mommies.
Human.
This was the video number 22, Two Mommies, I believe it was called. I don't remember. But, Sophia comes home and shows mom the picture and comes up with this simple explanation. I didn't have time to fill in his face. Yeah, that's crap. That's crap. Because she put his ears on his head, his hair on his head. She filled in every single stripe on his shirt and his fingers and feet. No, this is crap. But that was the moment of the simple explanation, and they went on. And she said, so-and-so has two mommies. And then Sophia is taught how she can use the school as her territory to share the good news and to go tell this child the next day about the paradise. Can you imagine how this plays out?
Yeah.
It's like,
also, they show this, they walk through this security thing.
Yes.
With a bag. And they say, if you want to take something to an airport, you're not allowed to. What happened? But it's not, they're not leaving the bag. They are leaving the person.
Okay.
in the video, you know.
I
You
remember
have to.
seeing that too. And it's
You have
actually
to.
very ironic because in the most recent convention, I had to watch, you know, they did a virtual convention this time around, and I had to watch that. And there was a segment on how gay people now supposedly are, there will be some gay people in the new system, but they won't be fixed. You will still have to actually work towards being fixed, like in the 1,000-year reign or whatnot. You know what they believe.
Right.
And but because
Right.
it was so odd, like, and ironic how I remember that video, how they said, "Oh, you can't come in if you're a gay person," because like think of an airport. But now they're changing it a bit. They're changing their words a bit, and they're saying, "Oh yes, some gay people will be in the paradise, but they will have to work while they're in the paradise to
Thank,
change
thank
being
you.
gay. And if they don't
Thank,
be, I'm sorry, were you saying something, Linda?"
forgive me. Go ahead, please.
Oh, and I was just finishing up and saying how basically I think it was Brother Let who said, and if they can't change their ways, well, they will be dealt with appropriately. So apparently, gay people in the paradise can't even have the courtesy of them taking away the awful gayness. They're gonna still make them stay gay in the paradise and still make them work against it. So I just think that's really interesting.
It really is. And that did not change unless there was something
Yeah,
regarding the law. So this was as I'm thinking about this, something. I'm glad you're mentioning this because so it's if they ever get called on being discriminative towards the gay people, they get to show them that portion of the video saying, "We believe that gay people will make it into the new system.
yeah,
We teach that they are qualify for salvation," or whatever it's labeled as. See, that's a big shift from we have to drop certain things that are unacceptable when getting on a plane to please Jehovah to you're already in the new system. And there evidently would be some form of conversion therapy that we have to sign up for. I don't know. What could it be? You know?
yeah, yeah. No, but I think that's a good example how we as activists can produce new light.
Mm,
They see, okay, there's focus. Oh, we can lose money. Someone can sue us. We need an explanation for this. We can get in trouble for hate speech. And they really don't care if a poor elder gets thrown in jail. They just have a martyr. But the fact is, if someone sue Watchtower, ooh, that's worse. So they have to make, change stuff. Like when they stopped beating children in the Kingdom Hall. And that's a good thing. So...
Yeah, if you want to see more on it, John Cedars did a mini video just on that segment, just about how they manipulate LGBTQ individuals. He posted recently.
Yeah. No, I think there's actually I don't like the governing body, if you didn't know that, but actually I think there is like a small chance that they might move in the right direction, trying to become mainstream. The Mormon Church is really trying to become mainstream. They started out like a batshit crazy cult and are more and more trying to be mainstream. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses started as a stupid religion and became a cult, but it can turn also with some gentle pressure. So you never know.
and I agree with you that we're watching a shift happen, and I don't believe it's voluntary. I do believe it's because they're being held accountable, and they realize, or the legal department realizes that there needs to be some sort of shift that implies that they are complying with human rights.
Yeah.
Now, the Mormon Church, what they've done lately, and this is within the last 2 years, is they did not used to allow the children of gay parents to become members.
Yeah.
And this has changed. So when a child can become a member, this is at 8 years old. So basically, they've shifted to appear to be more progressive, but in actuality, it does serve them because they get your child at 8 years old and get to indoctrinate them from the point of 8 years old. And before, it was set up in such a way that they would have to denounce their parents if they were to become a member. This time, maybe not.
No. That's what the Mormon. You can get baptized as a child when you're 8 years old, and they said, and remember, they have prophets, so it's straight from God. So it's kind of more weird when they start saying new light and new light and new light, because they're actually changing the word of God. But believe it or not, they are just faking it. Anyway, so they said that you cannot, a lesbian couple, for instance, cannot have their kid baptized. And even to their credit, the believing Mormons did not like this, that you should, deny a child salvation due to the parents. So they actually had Heavenly Father had to change his mind and come up with a new idea. And the new idea was, no, the child can be baptized at 8, and he had kind of confirmed it when he's 18, but then he has to kind of denounce his parents' homosexuality, which is really unfair, because if you are a Mormon kid with a father that's a bank robber, you don't have to, when you're 18, stand up and say, I condemned my father being a bank robber, or anything else, that the Mormon church don't like. It's only if your parents are what they call same-sex marriage.
Okay, so are we saying the same thing, or was I kind of off a little bit? That
you were correct of everything except the fact that they can now be baptized as a Mormon when they're 8, but when they're 18, they had to, denounce their parents' homosexuality. Kind of say, I do not agree with what my parents are doing.
You're saying that that's what they still have to do, within this new shift. Okay, thank you.
Earlier, they did not have to do it earlier, because then they could not be baptized at all.
Correct. That's true. Yes, that makes sense. Okay.
So now they can be, but to the credit of the normal Mormons, they did not like this, that you should punish a child for the crime the parents did. So
that makes sense. Okay.
So
and there was a lot that led up to this too, including LGBTQ ex-Mormons and such. They picketed in Utah, the big mansion, and the big. I'm finding a loss for words, but there was a lot that led up to this that brought public attention to the leadership of Mormonism for this shift to happen. So, it's a good thing God decided to shift a little bit, but they might have been helped too.
God changed his mind when money is involved. So
yes,
I have a friend, he's a Facebook friend, and he was ex-Mormon now, and like I said, Jehovah's Witnesses, they kind of harass everyone, and they don't single out gay people as much as many other. I think it's fair to say that for Jehovah's Witnesses, as long as everything I personally experienced. But the Mormons kind of single them out. And he had a kid that was gay and committed suicide, just a kid, due to this, the harassment and the religious abuse. So that's why I really wanted to make this video, and I'm going to put it up. I also know a Mormon kid that decided, because he was gay, to commit suicide, and he just thought, I should do one more research, and he just Googled Mormon temple or something like that, and found an ex-Mormon video from a YouTube channel called New Name Noah. And he decided not to kill himself. So I think that's why I want Brendan to come on and talk.
So was there a suicide, or did somebody choose not to? I got confused.
The first story, he committed suicide. The other one,
decided 2 stories.
To Google time, and he's now he did not commit suicide. So I hope he's doing well.
Actually, a couple months ago, one of my closest friends in the congregation committed suicide. And that was also one of the wake-up calls. We were both kind of loners in the congregation, and he never actually told me if he was gay or not, but you know, as a gay person, you can kind of pick up, and when you're someone else is a loner as well. And at the very least, even if he wasn't gay, he was very alone. So, and it really was a cause and effect of the way his mom kind of isolated him from the world. I would say his isolation was even worse than mine. His mom was even stricter than my parents. And I know when I saw that happen a couple of months ago, it was another wake up call that this religion affects people in such a negative way and can really change someone's life. And I remember vowing to myself at his funeral that I could never stay a part of this religion because look what they did to my closest friend, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of suicide. It's not good. So I actually think that if memory serves, I will not divulge your addresses, but I think you live in the same state, unless I'm wrong. But I think we have to close down soon. Is there any questions from our nice viewers? If you write a question, we could try to answer. Well, I think Brandon or Apostasy, write a sentence and end with a question mark. If you want to answer something, ask some questions. So I'm getting tired. I have to work tomorrow. And maybe you wonder why I had a tractor at, I was working all day like crazy. And I just put the tractor because when I was a witness, you know, you're always going to say, oh, Jehovah's blessing me. I'm a pioneer. I have no food. But, oh, I found a banana. That's obviously the angel put the banana there. And you always give Jehovah credit for everything that's good in your life. And say that this could not have happened. Such a big coincidence. It does happen. That picture of the crappy tractor, it's a good tractor, but it looks like crap. I thought, you know, we can't sell that one. But I wanted to sell the thing behind. So I put out an ad and someone called, do you want to sell the whole tractor? And he paid in advance and it was gone. So in the good old days, I would have said, this is because I am a pioneer. There's no other way this could happen. Hey, my prayers are with you. Yes, please connect on Facebook with me, Deborah. So there's no questions here? No. Then I think we have to stop. Normally I try to stop after 1.5 hours, and we're getting to 2 hours now. So Brandon, do you have some last words before Armageddon?
Thank you so much for inviting me on here. I hope that my story and my experience can encourage anyone else who feels alone right now and is in a similar situation. I want to tell people that, you know, there is a way out even when it feels like it's hopeless. There are always options, and you know, I wish everyone the best who might be still in mentally out but physically in.
Yeah. Remember me when you get famous and got the Oscar in Hollywood. You can call me.
Oh, I sure will.
Okay, so we have to stop now. So thanks for Apostasy and Brandon, and I'm tired. Well, you know, the big toe lady. So thanks for watching and see you in paradise.